People keep asking me, Sadhguru, are you going to make another Dhyana Linga in United States? I tell them, no use, no need, because you can bring that here whenever you want. Because Dhyana Linga doesn't belong to time and space. If you are willing, it's here also. We can establish one space where it is like, we won't consecrate anything, but if all of you are willing, that'll become the Dhyana Linga temple without actually doing it. Time and space is stretchable. You can make it small, you can make it big, you can make it anything you want. So, consecration process is touching the borders of that. So when you understand that if this one has not blossomed, it's got nothing to do with anything except that we are not doing something right with this one. It's as simple as that. When we understand that, that is when a spiritual process actually begins. So once you are not an issue, being peaceful or joyful or blissful is not an effort anymore. Then naturally, you want to know what's behind everything, because it is not an induced quest. It is very natural for human intelligence to look for it. You can't help it. Spiritual process is not a conscious choice. It's a kind of compulsive behavior. It's a compulsive behavior. Unless you handle it consciously, it'll not yield. That's why it looks like a trick thing. It's actually compulsive behavior. Longing for the boundless is a compulsive behavior. But unless you become conscious, it'll never work. So, it's little one inside the other. If you when you are stuck to the rigid formats of your logical mind, it looks like an impossibility. It looks like there's no way. If you come to India, you'll see this. People will go down here, there's one, let's say, one Devi temple, they'll go down to her, like all the mantras and the chants and the prayers that they do, they're saying, you are everything. They go here, one Ganapati temple, half man, half animal. They go down, bow down to him and all the chants, prayers, everything, they're telling him, you are everything. They go to Lakshmi temple, they do the same. They go to Vishnu temple, they do the same. They say Shiva, of course, they say you are everything. I know you are also doing this with people. But they're genuinely doing it. There's no deception in this. Because when you say you are everything, you are saying you are the center of the universe, and it's true. The cosmos doesn't have a fixed axis. Today, after much struggle, modern science is slowly coming to terms with this. You can make anything the very center of the universe. It is all in your consciousness that you make it that way. So people move seamlessly from one thing to another, they just don't have problem with anything. And this is very important because if you want to access other dimensions of life, if you want to know, experience and be able to handle other dimensions of life, it's very important that you have no rigid structures in your mind. So consecration is just this, you're making one thing into another thing. What is just a physical thing? You're making a god out of it. You're making it the very center of everything. People keep asking me, Sadhguru, are you going to make another Dhyana Linga in United States? I tell them, no use, no need, because you can bring that here whenever you want. Because Dhyana Linga doesn't belong to time and space. If you are willing, it's here also. We can establish one space where it is like, we won't consecrate anything, but if all of you are willing, that'll become the Dhyana Linga temple without actually doing it. Now I'm beginning to talk mumbo-jumbo because life is mumbo and it's jumbo. It's big. The biggest thing in the existence is life itself, isn't it? The biggest thing in the existence is not some god sitting somewhere, the very life process itself. It contains the creation and the creator. If you are willing to go beyond the surface substance of what this is, suddenly everything is plastic. You can move one thing to another, another thing to another, it's all mixed up. There's a beautiful song in Telugu. The Telugu people, oh. This was sung by a person who was inebriated, who was constantly in a state of inebriation. And he said, Jagame Maya, that means life is… the existence is an illusion. Bratike Maya, that means life is also an illusion. So if right becomes left and left becomes right, there's no problem. Kuda edamaithe paripatu ledu. That means if right becomes left and left becomes right, man becomes woman and woman becomes a man, there's really no problem. Because after all, it's an illusion. So, today modern physics is coming to this that you can make one thing into another. Time and space is stretchable. You can make it small, you can make it big, you can make it anything you want. So consecration process is touching the borders of that. The main part of the consecration was not done here, it was done in the last 2 days. And we were only creating a conducive atmosphere for what's been happening. I don't want to ask some questions which will make some people go into flights of imagination and some people feel depressed that they can't feel anything and whatever, all this. Necessary, but if you're willing, if you came in to this hall yesterday and today, there's a big difference in the way the space is. If you should have meditated yesterday or today morning and now do it, you'll notice a big difference in the way it happens. So, you change the quality of the space simply because you change the reverberations. So always yogis and mystics chose spaces which are small and generally into the earth. Caves are just cubicles in the earth. If you go like this, there'll be drainage problems. So they went like this into the mountains. That's why the mountains and the caves are always popular with spiritual people, because they want to be surrounded by earth. They don't want to be in wide open space where they can't retain the energy that they want to, that they can't be in a space that they want to be in. So they created into the terrain some kind of thing. Those mystics who were further evolved into these aspects went into subterranean spaces where in your perception it may be just as big as a mustard seed, but for them it's a whole city. Lots of people living there and doing their sadhana, living full-scale life. But in your perception of space, it may be just this much, like a grain of sand, that kind of space, but in their perception and experience and in their life experience, it's big. You can stretch space like this.